should be good.
I'll do this.
Yes, I'm so nervous.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Guten Abend.
Hi, hello.
It's 10:30. You know what that
Well,
means?
it's 10:31, so it's late and we can start.
So, typical furries. We're late for everything. Yay!
So if you're here for Sinful's AD Twitter crash course, welcome, you're in the right place. If you're here for underwater basket weaving, I think that's room 7.
Yeah!
Don't know why it's an AD panel this year. Guess they're naked.
Skinny dipping.
I mean, that's a thing.
It's a fun thing, and I'd love to do it here, but yeah.
Probably not the best of ideas.
So
This is me thinking about that.
yeah, right. Just the image of like a skinny dipping pool party at a con.
That would totally go over well.
Maybe if we like went to the beach. But anyway,
Yeah.
so can we get next slide? Thank you.
Yeah.
So introductions. I didn't know you guys were going to be officially sitting up with us, so that's why they do not have a photo. But I'm Sinful, aka Swatch. This is Warple,
AKA Ozzy.
and this is Yitters, aka Yitters.
Or secretly poor name is Titters.
Titters.
Because everyone types my name wrong. So it became the joke that my poor name is Titters.
Alright, so
Okay.
this is Yitters Titters.
Oh god.
We may or may not have a few other people come in who may stop. If any of you see something and you're like, oh, that's my fetish, you can just raise your hand and be like, hey, I'd like to add to what you said.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys.
We're here to educate, so if we're not fully educating, let us know. And if we say anything that's inappropriate, incorrect, just raise your hand. Hey, that word is like, we don't use that word. And we'll
Yeah.
be like, oh, we won't use that word. Easy.
And our credentials are that we have accounts on twitter.com and yeah, so
Yeah, we post
but in all
nudes.
seriousness, our thing is basically just post and be successful in doing so. Facilitate a good conversation on social media, if that's what we're calling it. But yeah, and nonetheless, let's get started with the first topic, which is interacting on After Dark Twitter.
This is like one of the biggest things. People are like, how do I get people to want to like follow my account, look at my pictures, talk to me? Like, it's kind of a low-key art. You don't think it is, but there's definitely some kind of like
Tact.
nuance. Yeah.
Tact. You
That's
want to
a good
have
word.
tact, both as an audience member and someone who posts on the site. So this entire panel will be geared towards both, mostly the creator part of it. But I highly recommend that if you're an audience member, you'll learn a few things about the other side of the coin here. So the first thing we want to talk about interacting is the kind of persona you hold. Is it going to be you, or is it going to be this kind of face that you put on the internet? And I guess this is kind of one place where we differ.
Yeah, when I first started my Twitter account, I kind of went for I called it my J-pop model, where basically I played it like a J-pop idol. You don't talk about relationships excessively or at all if you're a real J-pop idol. You pretty much would keep it exclusively business. You put yourself in the best light. You only talk about like the content you're doing, which very different content, but worth doing. Versus Ozzy went for a more natural approach.
Yeah, I tend to be my more authentic self, essentially. I don't put on too much of a different face between IRL and the internet.
Yeah. There is like one disclaimer with that, and that's oversharing, which we did want to touch on because I think something that kills a lot of people's AD accounts or like they start getting followers and then they just lose a bunch. They'll talk about a TMI thing. They'll be like, oh, my relationship sucks, and then go on like a huge thread about why their relationship is falling apart that 1,000+ people don't need to know.
Yeah.
So I have a natural approach, but my natural approach is a little bit more political in a way. So I talk about queer rights and people of color and things like that. So some people are off-put by that, and some people are interested in me because of that. But I do get some losses and some pluses from that. So I feel like the balance is whatever is most important to you.
If you're using Twitter as a soapbox or a platform to, move something forward, like, queer rights.
Yes.
You want to have, again, it all takes tact. You always need to understand where you're going to get the pluses and the minuses from. So, On that note, good and bad replies. How can you tell what the pluses and the minuses are? Because it's pretty obvious from first glance what kind of reply is definitely against your idea and what is definitely for your idea. Like a good compliment is one that's subtle, one that's you know, not too creepy, basically. And we're going to talk about some good and bad replies, like hi.
Yeah, we'll
Or-
get into the hi.
Hey.
Next.
Best
the
one.
thing
Hey
about-
there.
Yeah, the thing about good
Share
and
the
bad
worst
replies.
message we ever got.
Ooh, that gets pretty bad. Is that?
It does. It does.
I don't know.
So the thing about good and bad replies, a good reply can create a conversation, be a polite compliment, like just the right amount of flirtatious because it's the internet and we're furries, we flirt to communicate. Like, but there's good and bad flirting, like detailing the like raw crazy actions you want to do to this internet stranger, that's off-putting. People are like, mute or block. Some people don't even do the mute. I mute with that.
A good example of this is like, wow, you have beautiful eyes. That's a good reply, right? You know, it's a really straightforward, basic compliment. A bad reply is telling her what kind of things I'd like to do to her eyes, or her eyelids, or her pupils,
Oh
or
God.
what.
It's the internet. Assume it.
Everything's a thing.
You're using your new child as a shield.
Leave Mr. Borb alone. He's doing his best.
Okay.
We all are.
But
We
anyways,
all love the board.
So moving on, this was actually a specifically requested one, so whoever requested it, this is for you. So, interacting with the types, aka the good, the bad, and the ugly of AD Twitter. So you have your good and bad replies, and that's pretty straightforward. Don't be creepy. You get better at it the more you do it, the more you read it. But then there's the types of people you might see, and I
we'll always
think
take the same approach every single time, and you know, insanity really is picking up on doing the same thing over and over again until it works.
yeah. So the disclaimer on these terms, they're kind of just the best words we could come up with for these check boxes that these people mark in that group they make.
And everyone's favorite label is nice guy. Who here's a nice guy? Yeah, Cody. Yeah. So, don't be a nice guy.
If you're
no.
a genuinely nice guy, you don't have to start the conversation with, I'm a nice guy.
Yeah.
Like
God.
that's it. You're not a nice guy anymore.
Yeah.
Credibility's shot. So these guys, some of them could be incels also. I didn't want to like bring them up, but they exist and they look at porn and then get mad that people have sex.
What's
I
an
don't get it.
incel?
That's a good point.
So an incel's an involuntary celibate. I don't want to start soapboxing their beliefs and their subreddits and
Nope.
yeah, they're just
Look-y, they're basically just rapists.
Yeah.
yeah.
They basically think the world's against them. But anyway, we're gonna move on to that. So the flip side of the coin is, and you'll chime in here, is the people that really get overly offended. Like they'll find a problem in anything. Like
They're looking to be offended,
they're
basically.
looking
Like,
to be offended. And I have the words SJW-ish, but
it just so
We'll touch on
happens.
that.
we'll reclaim that term
We'll
a
touch
little
on
bit.
Yeah, SJWs aren't inherently bad, but some of them haven't learned there's a balance to issues, and you don't need to be all the way to one side and grab at anyone who doesn't agree with you, that you can have a discussion. They're the ones who are just looking to start a fight, and stuff's bad for them, so let's bring down everyone else, which is really what a lot of these types' main issue is. They just are unhappy,
Right.
so they lash out, whatever way.
So I'm going to chime in just a little bit on
Yes,
that
go
one.
ahead.
So I am about word reclaiming, and I claim myself as an SJW. So for myself, what it generally means is social justice warrior. I support people equality, people rights. I talk about those types of rights on my account, and the thing about that is I am always open to a discussion. I always, if I get a comment that I consider to be against my beliefs, I talk about that belief. I try to be very mindful in the way that I word things. I try to not be exclusionary in my comments or say, hey, I feel this way, but also I recognize that if you have disagreeing opinions, then that's okay. And I have found that when you are open to having a discussion or educating, and I've found people sometimes are like, I'm afraid to ask about trans rights because I don't understand what trans is. You can't just be like, oh, well, if you say this thing, then automatically, because some people just don't know. Ignorance is not an insult. It is not knowing. And so if you take the time for someone who says something and you privately, ideally, DM them and be like, hey, you said this thing on my account, I just want to have a discussion about it. If you're open to it, this is what I said. If they're open to the open forum, then you can do so, but that's also up to you how you decide that you want to handle it. Privately, I think is better if you're going to take that type of approach, because you don't want to embarrass someone. And if someone is being shown to have a conflicting opinion publicly, they become more defensive. So you can be an SJW and reclaim that, but if you are just the type of person who's like, if you have this opinion and it's against me and you fight, then that's when it becomes the overly offended, like, you feel this way, cancel. You can do that, and some people will support you, but that might not necessarily be the most approachable way to handle that.
In general, respectfulness is key here. But
Yeah,
if you're trying to appeal to a wide audience and make sure that any people get what they want to say out, and speak for your audience, not for the person you're directly replying to. Always a good concept.
Yeah.
That's actually something I want to mention.
Yeah.
My running joke about my Twitter and how I avoid drama and controversy is I don't share my opinions. I don't have an opinion. I do have opinions, but I try not to just fill my Twitter with them, because no matter what that opinion is and how many people agree or support it, there's going to be more who are going to be, that's stupid and I don't like you and you should die. And it's like, all right, in the suggestion box. So,
Noted, and also experienced
All
the
right.
reverse side of that.
Other things that go directly into the suggestion box. People who really so this kind of is like an oversharing thing. People who really like to get unload their emotional baggage on you, like they like you posted a great video with your partner and you think it's hot or something, and someone's like, wow, that really reminds me of when I was with my girlfriend, and oh my god, she was the best at everything and I loved her so much, but we broke up last year and now I've been depressed since. What's wrong with that picture? First, it's oversharing as an audience member. Second, check your emotional baggage at the door. Don't take the internet too seriously. We're not your therapists. We're here to be.
yeah, that actually reminds
You
me,
know.
I had a soft suitor send me some screenshots she had. I didn't have time to edit them, and I was going to fill an entire slide with screenshots from different people she had, of people just wanting to talk to her, wanting to just, I want to get to know you. Oh, okay, you don't want to talk, that's fine. And then they would just paragraph after paragraph about, oh, I'm depressed because of this, school sucks, my girlfriend left, my parents don't understand me, no one here's a furry. Like, that's awful, that sucks. Good luck working on whatever those are, however you need to. Why are you telling a random stranger who's posting porn on the
Someone
internet
shared a
this?
good quote on that. Public face does not mean professional.
That's a good one, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
People have their ethos, and you need to be aware of that, whether it is I've been here posting for several years, or I actually do something professional related to this. We personally are not professionals, so we have just been around here long enough to understand how things work and what works and what does not. So, but yeah, and the last kind of type we want to talk about is speed daters. This kind of person you hear, I want to get to know you most of the time.
Yeah.
This just raises a lot of red flags immediately, because it's like, if you're trying to insert yourself into someone's life, it's going to be pretty obvious. You're going to see immediate response of either like a brick wall, or you're just not going to get a response at all. So if you really do want to get into someone's life, start out by interacting normally, like a fan would. Be a person in that regard. Play your role, versus trying to play a different role outside of the rest of the people that the content creators are making for. And that's really the best way to get to know someone, is to follow them for a while, interact. Because these kinds of things you'll pick up on. You don't have to go fishing for them per se.
Yeah, actually one of the best interactions I had with someone who I have never met, they live in Canada, I don't think I'll meet them anytime soon. He literally just PM'd me one day and was like, hey, I noticed you had an interest in this, what got you into it? And we just started talking, and now we talk like semi-regularly, like, let it happen naturally.
Being
Just-
genuine.
Be genuine,
Yeah.
be on topic, and eventually the other stuff can come.
Yeah, it'll be reciprocated if you're putting in a good amount of energy, because when you just do, hi, how are you? Good. Okay. That's it. That's the conversation.
What are you doing tonight?
Not you.
Oh.
That is a lie.
Hey,
Well,
bird!
does that mean I'm invited?
Oh yeah.
Need this?
I don't. This is just an off-topic thing, and kind of an organizational thing. We didn't see anyone carding anyone outside, so we just want to note here that this is an 18+ panel. So if you're less than that,
Yeah.
please. We don't hate you. We just need to see yourself out.
Yeah, we're,
So,
I don't think we're gonna technically like do anything
Yeah. I
think
illegal
we're
here
good.
tonight, but I don't want to
Yeah,
push
no.
anything.
It is an
like,
after dark
This
panel.
is a bag of condoms. If
Oh
that
my
weirds you out, you should probably not stay.
I would like to not spend my con in jail.
Yeah.
In
No.
Yeah.
another state that
I
I
don't
don't
want to
live
be
in.
put on the registry. Thank you.
So
Yeah.
okay.
Seriously.
So the next thing is offline versus or online online versus offline interactions. This is how this is the point at which we say, all right, let's say you are at a con and you see someone that you've been following for a while, and you want to say hi, but you just don't know how to go about it. And here's where we talk about that.
Yeah. So, online and offline, not the same, even though a lot of us do treat online interaction as like face-to-face communication, because we love these things. We're just on them, and we have a lot of online friends. The hi thing, since we've talked about that like 4 times already before we even got to the slide about it. Hi is a great greeting for someone you already know, or like at a con. Like when I see someone I know, when I saw Yitters earlier, I was just like, "Hi Yitters," and just lose my absolute shit because I'm a dog.
And I
That
heard in
works.
excitement because cat dog.
Yes. Yeah, like hi works in real life, especially when you just want to run up, get someone's attention. Oh, I like your fursuit, can I get a picture? Or hi, we know each other from here. Like that's a good offline. Just hi in passing. It's just a passing greeting. You're not gonna have a conversation. It's just a oh hello.
Or a
it's nice to see
passing
you.
compliment.
Yeah, like that's fine. Offline, it's a lot easier. Online, the reason hi doesn't work, which I think is the reason it gets used so much, is because it doesn't lead into any further conversation.
Because of its brevity, not like the brevity
Yeah.
is a crutch, not a like
Yeah.
compliment to it. Hi is really like any sort of greeting is great because it's short in person. But when you translate that to some written medium like Twitter, Telegram, whatever, it doesn't translate well because it just feels too short. It feels like it just takes up space in your day, and you could be reading literally anything else,
Yeah, my other thing with it is when you're first messaging someone, whether you've met them in person, whether it's you've never met them, you just want to start a conversation, treat it like an email to someone. It's like your subject line, but like just a little bit longer. Just, hi, I saw that you like this thing, I like this thing. I was wondering if you saw this related thing. Or, hi, I saw you at so-and-so's party, you seemed really cute, we talked, whatever. Explain your connection and your reason, basically. Don't, because,
An open-ended question
yes.
is always a great one.
Yeah, from a content creator standpoint, our following count is low, our follower count is high. We get a lot of, hello, hey, how you doing? And it's just, you start replying to it, it just turns into a lot of dead-end conversations, and that's exhausting. I could have filled 4 slides with people's screenshots of that, but that was a lot of work to, do.
And on the other hand of it is not just a greeting, but an end to the conversation. Ending conversations is just as important as beginning them. If you are not finding an out, if you're kind of like stumbling on trying to, you're trying to leave a conversation or you don't know how to do it, the best way to do it at a con is say that you got somewhere to be, or you're trying to meet someone, or this is like one of the most common things is if someone doesn't want to be in conversation, they're gonna find an excuse to leave, and excuses to leave aren't always a bad thing, but be a little bit more genuine about it. So the thing is, online conversations also need an end. So you could say, I'll see you around at insert con here, or I hope to see you at your panel, for instance, or love the content, keep it up, can't wait for the next post, or something like that. There's a lot of different ways you can end a conversation on the internet, and there's even more in person. So when you go into a conversation, kind of have an out at the same time. It's just as important, and you don't want to forget it, because leaving someone on red is,
Like there's times where conversation has reached a natural end and you can just kind of leave that virtual conversation, and then there's some where it's just in the middle, and you're like, guess they forgot. Guess they don't want to talk.
I'm not important anymore to them.
Yeah.
That doesn't
And
feel good
also-
for anyone.
Also, try not to take it too personally, because they may have just genuinely forgotten to like check their DMs or their Telegram because people got jobs, lives, whatever.
I have found that people, even if it's not the nicest message of like, hey, I'm really busy with my personal life, I'm very fulfilled, I don't have the time for the messages, I'll respond when I can, but I can't make promises. People will prefer that over just completely disappearing or leaving unread multiple messages. And it creates a lot less problems for you when you set the boundaries of like, hey, I can't promise I'm gonna send these, respond.
Yeah, honestly, the boundary thing is something I wanted to mention. So thank you for reminding me. But
I help.
yes, it's just the best way to do online stuff is make your boundaries clear, so that way when someone crosses, you can go, hey, this is my boundary, and try not to like waver. I've done it in the past. It's made for some awkward situations. Just if you're uncomfortable, even when it happens, you're still gonna be uncomfortable. Just listen to your comfort zone, your brain, whatever gut, whatever thing's telling you
Your
that.
gut is usually right.
Yeah.
It's true.
So leave a conversation if it makes you uncomfortable, and if you're not getting a good vibe from it, see yourself out basically, because sometimes that's your best defense.
Yeah, it's something I notice a lot of people, their issue is they just keep having the conversation that they know is not something they want to do. They keep opening that door to it, and it's just, you don't want to do it. Don't do it.
So, and I guess for the audience members, don't throw your boner at whoever you're talking to. For the love of God. It can be very overwhelming. Overwhelming in that, what do you respond to that with? Oh yeah, come up to my room. Let's take care of that right now. No, especially not on the con floor. Be mindful. Be mindful of where you're having these conversations. A quick compliment like, I don't know, I love your Twitter account. That's pretty safe from an eavesdropper's perspective. If you're in public, this is kind of important to talk about, especially if you're at a con space where there could be kids around it. So, make sure, your speech is literally safe for work if you're interacting in public. That is probably the #1 safety thing regarding online versus offline interactions. And for the love of God, don't touch whoever you're talking to. Don't try to do it.
You don't need to say it, but
Yeah.
I keep hearing people's stories about it, so ask before you do anything, because chances are if you ask, they're going to be okay with it, nothing weird will happen. And if you feel like whatever you're doing you can't ask to do, maybe don't do it. Easy advice.
Because
Yes.
even a simple something like a touch on the shoulder like this one, are you okay with this?
I know you, so yes. A
Boom!
random stranger, like, I
How
can
about
tolerate the conversation like, hey, I know you from somewhere, like, little touch. Some people, don't touch them. They don't want to be touched.
Even something as simple as hugs.
Yeah. Yeah, just, people have touch issues. Ask first. Just some people don't mind, some people are okay. If you're a touchy person, try to, like, restrain yourself.
So, on that note, offline versus online interactions, keep them simple.
That reminds me about RP. Like,
Oh, yeah,
hugs,
don't RP at
hugs
people.
online. That can be cute in the right context, but if that's your conversation starter, it's as bad as high.
Yeah.
But when someone's going through a rough time, hugs is cute. So that's
Yeah.
okay. Context.
I like to do offers hugs because it's
Yeah.
still consenting based. Like, if you would like this hug, it's available. But if not,
Yeah.
Honestly, how it should be.
So, with that said, let's get into the nitty gritty of this.
We got our handy dandy scene rippers.
Yeah.
They're friends. I decided they're friends because they look like they'd be
So
friends.
80 Twitter. We all know what it's really about. It's a lot of sex, surprisingly enough.
Oh, see the sex word? Disgusting.
Sorry.
Grounded.
And sometimes it's sex through holes that have to be made.
there are orifices that you have to enter through holes.
Yeah. Surprisingly enough. And even those Furby things, you gotta
Oh
cut
God.
them open.
I was not prepared. I was not prepared.
These are seam rippers.
Yeah, this is the handy dandy tool that when someone goes to a con, they're like, man, my maker wouldn't do this for me, or I couldn't find someone. We'll just rip a hole in it and have a good weekend and fix it later. So, there's a little bit more nuance to it with getting your maker. See, there's more makers than ever who are willing to do that for you for a small charge. that's cool. I remember looking for a fursuit like 3 years ago, and none of them would talk about it. It was a don't ask, don't tell. Or you have to ask, but if they tell you no, they're also going to blacklist you because icky.
Yeah.
So it's
So-
easier than ever to get a mersuit or
We're gonna.
partial.
This isn't a con panel about how to make or commission a fursuit, cause that's out of our jurisdiction.
Yeah, I tried to make a fursuit. It was ugly. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
There's no photos for a reason.
You're so pretty though.
And I have money for a fursuit. There are many people who can help you if you want to make a fursuit. Matrices.net, great starting point. I think any makers, I see one nodding, so I feel like, yeah. She made her suit. It turned out great. She looked it up. Don't harass makers for tutorials. I think a friend of mine would want me to say that because they were
Especially
harassed a lot.
about tutorials on cutting a private part hole. So you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, that's just, if you want to make it, gather your supplies, look up your tutorials,
stay in
and
community.
yeah,
Stay in
and do a
community.
little research on seam rippers.
So,
Commissioning your fursuit,
yeah.
just reach out.
Okay, angles. Don't put the hole in the wrong place. You will regret it and have to do some sewing
I've
later.
heard several stories of people like, finally got my mersuit ready, and then they're like, okay, it's a little too low for my penis, and it's a little too high for my butt. What do I use this for? So
Yeah.
measure first is the thing there.
Measure twice,
Also, the
cut
suit
once.
angles was also in reference to learn how your suit looks good. Like, our suits, I'm just gonna do a little demonstration here because I learned this, we have suits, we can do this. This suit looks great from like this angle and this angle. Well, I know that my mouth is not symmetrical, so one side looks more smiley than the other, so I try to like acknowledge that with my pictures. Versus, this looks stupid. This is just a chin and like some white eye holes. Yeah.
Hello.
So when you're taking pictures, just, look in the mirror with your fursuit head on, kind of like, do I look good? Can you not see anything? Is it just my eye hole? So you can avoid, pictures where your suit is doing this creepy white side eye, no eye happening. And also eyelids, learn how those look at different angles. These are new, I haven't experimented much. I might have some weird pictures with them. But learn your suit, and when you're taking pictures, that'll be in a different section, but I want to talk about the suits because that's specific.
Another good topic is safe for work versus not safe for work suits. In general, suitors will commit to one image, and that is not a mistake. It is a bad idea to double dip a suit's image, essentially. The thing is, clearly it's because of a cleanliness. You don't want to really be wearing something that has had jizz all over it in a con floor. Even if it's perfectly clean, you're still wearing essentially an icon of being
I
lewd.
will stop you there because I'm gonna have an opinion and break my own rule. Even if your suit goes through the nastiest things, if you clean it and it doesn't have like dried, nasty, yeah.
Fluids.
Petrified funk.
Yes. Clean your suit and just acknowledge that it is a sex toy for you, and maybe walk on the con floor. But maybe if you see like a group of kids, kind of walk away, because
Yeah, absolutely.
it's a context thing. Like maybe don't go to a charity event in that mersuit.
I am slick in this. You told me if I wanted to walk in and say a few things about that.
Yeah.
Technically, what I'm wearing is an owl. Hang on, it's like technically my Armani suit, which doesn't really have a fursuit per se, because it's meant to be on an actual like Zentai suit, bodysuit. This actually qualifies as a mersuit because it's always been seen in merry material, even though I've never worn this in that material, but the face is on there. You know what I'm saying? Usually if I see kids walking out, I'll basically, because they shouldn't be up that damn late, I'll just walk around my hands together doing the Egyptian thing and say, hey, can I take a picture? And I'll just like, keep walking. Because the one thing you want to do is, if you're in the suit and you know it's like that, you feel kind of awkward about it or something, you can tell a minor, if most people don't, most of them just leave you alone, but
Just say no.
I wouldn't say anything. I'll just do my thing and just steer clear. They won't say hi and run to you unless they knew you anyway, but then you should be scared of why would you know that, Jimmy?
Why you running?
But yes, I have the same opinion this one holds, and I was
Yeah.
told to come in here and say some shit, and since I
Well, I want help with the safe sex and consent bit because I know.
Cool. I thought you already did that.
No, yeah.
Nope, that's next actually.
Okay.
Oh, you found the right time.
Yeah.
Well, how about that?
Continue the talk while I put my bodysuit on underneath it because I need to put
Go
this on. I
ahead.
hate it anyway.
It's 18 plus, even though I don't know that anyone
Continue
here was carded.
talking.
Yeah.
No, wait. They had to have been carded at that thing.
Oh,
before
okay.
they scanned
Then
it.
that's fine.
Yeah.
We didn't get carded.
It's alright, this isn't going on my
Walk in.
YouTube channel anyway.
I mean, not.
They know.
Alright, so
So,
hookups
okay.
and safe sex. That's
Mersuiters
the
like
fun
to. Mersuiters probably need to find other mersuiters, and guess what they're gonna eventually have to do? Most important thing is
Fake.
consent. First of all, don't go walking into anyone's room that you shouldn't.
part.
Let me know when you
Second consent, but I guess it should be implied.
Yeah, it really is kind of such a given that it should be no question that you need to make sure that someone's okay with it before
And also,
continuing.
while you're doing stuff, check in with the other person. Like, are you still okay with what we're doing? Hey, if we do this, are you okay with that? Just make it a normalized thing, because it
If you
really
feel
should
like you're
be.
gonna take it to the next level, be like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. How do you feel about that step?
Which is what this is what you were talking about.
Yeah, if you want to add on.
To add on to that, the best way of doing that to make it a lot less awkward, because I've been working in the BDSM community for 9 years now, and recently being able to do it on my own for the last 3 years. It helps to negotiate the scene. It may not be, it's not just, specific to kink, but anything that relates to a sexual or anything intimate, where before it even starts or whatever, it's like, okay, here's what's going down or whatever. If you don't like it, do this. If you, and have some type of criteria. Usually the green, yellow, and red, or red, yellow, and green seem to be the simplest. Red means stop what you're doing. I don't want to do this anymore. No question. Don't even go. But what? But maybe if I no. Yellow may be a little stop for a second, but don't really stop. But just kind of slow up a bit. Let us talk about this for a moment, or change it up a bit. So there's that. And again, consent. Red is kind of like the big stop. There's no continuing after that point, because people like to make a joke saying, oh, no means no and stop means go, that type of bullcrap. Don't, no. Oh my God, I heard that this whole con. I'm like, what? Whoa, no. Yeah, but this goes on with the consent thing. It's the easiest way of going about it. It don't have to be the same thing. You can do a key thing, because sometimes some play you can't say anything, you can't talk, so you just bring some keys or something. Just something that works with you guys. There's a specific thing to do.
Ultimately, communication is going to be more difficult because mersuits, your face is covered and you're going to be talking through a thing. And, I do a demo here, but we got to, speed things up here.
Well, there's also the whole aspect of, like, it's just sometimes hard to just say something to someone. It's like, hey, can you not touch my pussy like that? And it's like, just get over it, just normalize it.
Some
Don't
people
touch my
can
pussy
say
like
long
that.
sentences like she can. But
Yeah. I'm still working on it.
I mean, if it's really good, then
But-
I don't think I'm
Yeah.
gonna make it.
Ultimately, communication is important,
Which
and
brings us to the whole relationship
Yeah.
thing, because not everyone is in a, hi, we're open, and that means that I let other people touch his pee-pee, and he lets other people touch mine, and we're okay with that. Yeah.
But yeah, so we have Yitters here to talk about open and poly sort of things.
So, as I mentioned, my name is Yitters. Hi. I have been in every relationship dynamic, from monogamous to poly and open. The difference between open and poly is that open, you are sexually available, but you do not have other emotionally committed partners. And poly is where you have multiple committed partners. So I'm cheating because I didn't know I was going to be here this way. How this affects any sex happening. So open is more sexual based. So that means you can have different parameters. You can be only play together, you can be play individually, but with permission from your other partner, where they say, yes, I'm comfortable with you playing with this person. You can have partners where you only play together and things like that. And ultimately, whether you're playing with other people or not, you have to communicate with your partner that you're with. And if you have sex outside of that, that can affect the sex that you're having with the partner that you're with. And it's important to always touch base with your established partner. And I have found that if you do not focus on the partner that you have established, whether you're poly or open, that can create conflict sexually. And the plus side of that is if you are with a partner who meets so many of your needs, but there's one particular kink that you're not interested in, you can explore that kink with that other person, and and then you don't feel like you're missing out, quote unquote, on what you're experiencing with your other partners, because you get this from one person and this from another person, and then that original sensation with either person is more fulfilling because you don't feel like you need to seek that other element out. It's being met through the people that you're exploring with.
It's always important that that communication is there, and you're going to talk about, do I have to be present? Do I have, or who is it, or are we just using our better judgment, sort of thing. So, but yeah, on that note, the actual sex thing, make sure you're doing it safely. Get tested beforehand, know your status. I got this lovely
He has a little
bruise,
battle scar.
battle scar.
Yeah, I don't have one, but I was tested. I have a witness. I have papers. But yeah, if you're scared of needles, bring a friend. Have them there. You were kind of in a corner, so I
Can I
couldn't
make
really
a
help. But
No?
Yeah.
If you are using toys, it is helpful to use condoms on the toys, and you can boil them for safety if you're using them for different orifices. And testing goals are usually 2 weeks after and then 3 months after.
Mm-hmm.
safety first.
Absolutely.
Get orders. Here you go. That one might be expired, but I have more.
Condoms have
it
condoms
can
have
go-
expiration dates.
I'm
Yes, I
gonna
realize half
maybe
of
be
these
using
are.
a toy later. You can use no, you can't use it. Never use condoms that aren't in use, but I'll check the date.
But yeah,
Also, this is a female condom. If any of y'all want to see it after the panel, just come by. I kind of just have it for show and
It
tell.
hasn't been a while. I'm gonna investigate that. It's been a minute.
so moving on.
Yes.
So we talked about sex. It was
Yeah.
uncomfortable, but we did it.
Was it?
Not really.
You said the sex word.
Let's get the camera rolling.
Oh, baby.
We're gonna talk
It's
about.
been rolling.
Yeah, well.
Address the other sex stuff, or are we skipping that and come back to it?
What was it?
We had some stuff about it's right here, like virginity as a concept.
Oh, yeah.
We skipped that
Real
one.
quick.
Some people take it real seriously. They're like, "Oh my god, I'm a virgin. Can I do this?" Like, and some people are like, "I'm a virgin. I want to get fucked by 14 werewolves back to back, and I want to be tied up, blindfolded, like sensory deprivation." Don't do that as a virgin. Plan it out. Don't
Not go
push into
overboard.
it. Also, virginity's kind of a concept. You can still be a virgin. Like, I'm an anal sex virgin. He's a sounding virgin. I'm sure there's some stuff you haven't tried and you'd be a virgin on them. Like, some stuff. I don't know.
There's different concepts of
Let
it,
me
and
think about
you know.
what that could be. Keep going. I'm gonna be a minute.
But anyway, so the point is, you're ready to do this. It's gonna happen. How are we gonna put it on film? You know,
Yeah. Not as a virgin, probably, but
yes.
DP. That's
get
it.
comfortable
Yeah.
with it, and then you can take away your filming virginity. It doesn't have to be with whatever you do first
Yeah.
virginity. So, taking pictures and record. I do everything with this phone. Before that, it was an iPhone.
I'm not saying I don't miss those days, but
No, that
that
iPhone sucked.
camera was really.
This is
All
a
the
Pixel
Face
2
ID
camera.
is great for accessibility, especially when you've had some drinks. Let's be real.
Yeah.
I have a
So we're
picture
gonna talk about how to take a good picture or record a good video, because there's a lot of subtleties to it. You can't just whip it out and just be like button press, I'm done.
Literally made a joke about that last night at a party about dudes. So, okay.
It's just amazing.
There's taking good pictures, and then here's alright, and it's just this blurry, like, antique photo. I mean, is it a nipple? Is it a testicle? Is it a nipple?
Is it all three?
Yeah, honestly, with how gritty and
That
dark
would
it is,
be
it
an
could be. So,
Successful angle if you can get all three.
Oh,
in
yeah.
One actually
Yeah.
good angle.
Yeah, come to think of it, like, yeah, that'd
So,
be up
so
for a reward of
there's
some
suit
kind.
angles, and then there's U angles. Like, how do you look good? If you go like this and like slouch and have all your rolls out, like, if you're into that, take a picture. If you don't really want to show that off, like, arch your back, like, get the camera up here. Like,
Lean
regular
forward a little
selfie
bit.
rules apply. Just angle the camera down.
Top down, always great.
Try.
Remember to
Selfie sticks, yeah,
yeah,
those would be
selfie
really
sticks.
good.
framing. Make sure that what you're recording is in the center. Landscape versus portrait. You know, if like say you're the top and you're recording it like this, maybe portrait's okay. But if you know they're kind of like this, maybe you want to go landscape on it. You
Think
know?
about what you're trying to show, basically.
Exactly.
Also,
Clean your background up.
yes, that's where I was about to go.
Yeah.
Like, I've had so many pictures and I'm like, I look fine as fuck. what is that? Is that my dirty ass laundry in the background? I had to spend 20 minutes editing out laundry in a picture once, and at the end I was like, all I see is my shitty Photoshop skills, and deleted it. So just, it's easier to clean your damn room than it is to learn Photoshop.
And that also doesn't just apply to visuals. In a video, you also have audio. If you have a TV on in the background, and
Leave me alone.
if you have a TV on in the background, actually I say this more from like an audience member sort of perspective. You know, you find a good porn video online, and it's like, wow, are they watching Family Guy while fucking? And now that's the only thing you can think about. So you know,
It's a boner killer.
it really is. So you know, audio is just as important as video. Make sure that you don't have any noise in the back. Make sure your con roomies aren't talking in the background about what they ate for dinner, and you know.
Yeah, I mean, cons are a little harder to do that with,
Yeah,
but if you're
yeah.
gonna be filming and you know that, maybe be like, hey, can y'all like just not talk
Yeah.
about the disgusting news you
Music
just
can be
received?
distracting, but it can also be a subtle, like,
Yeah.
overcoat for just a little bit of background. It's a careful selection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a fun tip. If you're staying at a hotel, a lot of times they'll have channels with just a bunch of varieties of music. Yeah, chug it.
There's no cups. What do you want from me?
You have my bottle
Right in
of
front of
water.
you.
Was there water?
There's water
I
in
did
this
not
one.
know that was actually
Sorry.
water. I thought there was other
Oh no, that's in this one.
liquids.
That's why
Oh, bless. All right.
Rip.
yeah.
I felt powerful though.
So the point-
That one's powerful.
Point is, you can find some great background music on like hotel like TVs, and they won't have like any video.
That's where everything's filmed anyways.
Just if you're going
Not wrong.
to music, like actually a couple of our friends earlier today said one of the reasons they took their account from unlocked to locked is they had an Ariana Grande sound. Grande?
Grande, yeah.
Copyright.
Grande.
I don't listen to music. I do, not hers. But they had it in the background. Someone found it. It became a meme in that fan community, and all they got was troll accounts and people being like, "I had to see their porn, so now you do because they're nasty furries." And it
Literally
became
have
all
to,
that.
they literally locked their account because it was
Yeah.
so overwhelming, just because of this simple audio thing in the background. And you know,
anything can happen. People
Mhm.
People might not like the audio and just not like your video, or you could end up being trolled to hell because normies
Yeah,
don't like furry porn.
if you're
is
if
the
you're
bottom line.
if you're vying for popularity, you know, memes are a very real thing, and that can make you very infamous. As you know, things that are funny are just gonna get pointed out.
Yeah.
So try to reduce that. Keep the mood basically.
Yeah.
And-
Like you're not a professional porn star, but just kind of role play it a little bit. Like we gotta look good. We gotta have our background. Just things to keep in mind. If you need a checklist, there's no shame in having a checklist.
And okay, so let's say you've recorded it and you got the file and it's on your phone, you know, or maybe you've moved it to your computer and maybe you want to touch up a few things like edit out that dirty laundry in the background or turn it into a mute GIF because there was some TV in the background or something. Know your tools. If you're doing images, you know, Photoshop is the best tool for it, in my opinion.
But
It's
you can crack it and pirate it unless you're made of money.
that's not.
It's a pirate thing.
Don't
it's
do
fine.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
Oh, I forgot pirate some software.
Yeah.
It's all for the booty.
Yar har. Exactly.
A couple other
So,
softwares.
but if you want to keep your morals, there's a bunch of free options like GIMP is another one, and also Telegram is a built-in image editor. In case you don't know it, there's like a little settings thing at the bottom. When you go to send an image, you can adjust the lighting or the colors, and it can really spruce up an otherwise.
Their image editor is
Yeah.
actually very good.
It's
Most
pretty
of the
good.
stuff on my channel has been edited probably in that because you can adjust the colors, the light, the tone, exposure, like contrast, all
And
of
even
that,
add
and add
text.
text.
You're so much more high tech than me. I'm
Yeah.
just like, I didn't even look at this. Here you go.
to
I
CSV.
watermark it because I have attention.
Yeah.
I'm
So
not talking about school here. No. Anyway.
so
video.
text. Wait.
Are we
Text.
still on text?
Yeah.
Okay.
Watermarking.
Oh yes.
You know, people are going to share your content, right? Watermarking it is great because it's almost like putting your name on it. You know, you don't get credit for it if you don't put your name on it, and you're not going to be able to stop. Like if you're vying for popularity, you're not going to stop people from literally sharing your work. So take that to your advantage. Make it easy to find your content. Basically, you know, if you're posting it on Twitter, put your @ If you're posting it on a porn site like XTube or Pornhub, you know, put your username on there. people will read it. They're gonna see it and be like, wow, that was a really good fact. I want more. Where do I go to get it? It sounds ridiculous, but people care about sources, and it can really one thing gets retweeted or shared in the right place, and boom, you are off to the races. So don't go overboard.
It's just free advertising for when someone inevitably reposts your work. If you're a private account, then leaks are a bigger issue. But if you're public and going for that next big popular slut, watermark your shit, let it get reposted, and just rake in the views.
But
it's easy.
Don't go overboard with it.
Yeah, no, it's a little
If
annoying to
you're
just
gonna-
have huge white watermark over you, just it's like sinful edgy dog,
Dude.
sinful edgy dog, and it's
Do not repost.
stop it, leave her alone.
Just don't. Make it subtle. If it's still porn, you're still there for the main event. Don't take away from that. Don't be a mood killer. If you're gonna put your name on it, make sure that's in the corner or somewhere.
That's an intentional thing.
Yeah.
What you're posting is porn.
Yes.
If you got a genital out or a nipple, a nipple could be erotica, but if you got your genitals out and you're fucking, it's porn. I know we like to sugarcoat it with content. A lot of us do. I feel like that makes people detached from what it is.
Wholesome.
It
makes
does
it
feel.
wholesome.
I
but-
made content, not I took 2 things up my ass and shared it on the internet.
Yeah, it's like acknowledge what it is, so it's not weird when someone points it out. Because if you're not comfortable calling it porn, you probably shouldn't be making it, posting it.
Call a
You can
spade
make
a
it.
spade, basically.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Don't
Yeah.
don't use euphemisms.
Yeah, if you're not comfortable enough with the term, I'm kind of surprised you're comfortable enough with making it. And that's
Exactly.
my view on that.
I agree.
Exactly. So now that you've posted it, now that you've edited it, now that it looks
Let's talk
great.
about the editors for video.
Oh yeah.
We are super horny for this
Woo!
mobile editor. I
Okay.
really edited porn earlier with it. I actually got it from some TikTok furs because it's usually used on TikTok.
So
This program's amazing. I have it on my phone. You
I
talk
have it
about
on my phone. Then I went and put it on this tablet, and it's amazing. So we're
InShot.
Yes.
It's this amazing little thing. There's a paid version. I've been using the free version. It's
Great for video editing. It's fantastic. I highly recommend if you are
it doesn't
editing
crash.
porn. It doesn't crash. Doesn't crash.
Yeah, I used 2 different editors on a video, and
Yeah.
one crashed, other one crashed, other one had a backup that then crashed, and I was like, fuck it, I'm getting InShot. It worked first try, posted it, and I was
So
like, ooh,
the point
let's
is,
make another.
tried a bunch of different video editors. We like InShot. It works great. But if you're going really, really serious, maybe you want something more professional, or you really want to go high tech, or you got money flowing out your asshole.
And a good computer to run it.
Sony Vegas. YouTubers use it all the time. Just as valid. Hey, he probably uses it, right?
When I'm at friends'
Lightroom is
houses,
a
my
great one for
all the shit
photography.
at my house is literally Windows Movie Maker. I want to just die.
Yeah. Yeah.
Movie Maker sucks.
Old days.
I've edited porn in Windows Movie Maker, and man, the quality goes down.
That's very
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
That's why I have to edit my stuff
It
at
took
friends'
me
houses
years.
now.
Took me years to get over that finish for video compression, so no more.
So this is more about now that you have your edited, gorgeous porn. Shout out to InShot, which may or may not watermark. I haven't had
It
that
doesn't.
issue.
It doesn't actually watermark.
Well, that's a false advertisement I like. Anyway, so when you're posting it, different websites will have their this is the perfect format for you to post this in highest quality. Look that up, and you can guarantee you don't have this compressed ooh, look at all them ugly pixels. Just no one likes that. Post it as high quality as you can. If it still comes out shitty, look into a site that's not gonna be as bad about that, because some are picky.
Fun fact: Twitter actually has a frame rate cap, and it's 40 frames per second. But you want to just go slightly under that because it can cause some issues. And also, if you're posting pictures to Twitter, JPEG, it'll it doesn't compress as hard if you're posting as JPEG versus PNG is massive. It's gonna compress the shit out of it. So again, video compression fetishes are not really that great.
I mean, some of the hentai people probably like all that pixelation.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's your niche. Maybe that's your niche. So okay, you got content. It's all edited. It looks great. You've posted it. How do we grow that fan base? How do we see that number go up? Because man, is that so satisfying.
It is a game, and we are here to win.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you, I looked at that number some days, and I'm like, yeah, that's
Yo,
a nice
I'm
number.
like 200 away from 5K, and I'm like, this FWA, I'm making
I want to hit
I'm
something
gonna do
there.
enough pictures
We're
to
gonna.
get there.
Yeah.
I've taken nothing.
Yeah.
We'll get there. But
So-
yeah, Analytics. Twitter has some nice tools. Like.
Oh,
we
yeah,
on-
yeah.
Yeah, no,
on
you're
that
you're good.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
good.
okay, just making sure.
Yeah, you're good.
This
I like this-
beautiful art needs to be good.
Nice.
Bundled.
Since
Give me the alien's hands.
I love.
Yeah.
So again, tools here are very, very important. Twitter has analytics built right in,
Very
and
nice. Like,
big businesses and marketing departments use these so well. And this is like, you know how brand Twitter is like really out of control right now.
you too can be a brand Twitter. And if you got money, you could even promote your shit. I haven't done that. That's a little too full of yourself for
Yeah,
that.
no. But the point is, when you post something, it feels kind of shitty to see it, get maybe
Absolutely
like,
tank.
like maybe 1 digit in the retweets and maybe 1 digit in the likes department and like no reply.
Yeah.
It feels kind of disheartening, and it can also hurt your self-image. So you want to promote yourself the best way you possibly can. Post at times of day where people are going to be online. If especially if it's after dark. Guess what time of day you should post? After dark. That said, though, retweeting in about 11:30 can be helpful for the people who check their Twitter on lunch break, for instance. So analytics are great. Twitter lets you retweet a tweet once and only once. Telegram has channel views. So if you have a channel on Telegram, you can literally see that there's a little eye icon, and it shows you the number of how many times it was looked at. So if you see a sudden spike, maybe that got forwarded somewhere. It's important for you to know.
Yeah.
If you are posting to, say, Pornhub or Xtube or literally any other free site, if you're linking to it, a link shortener is great because you want to see where that traffic is coming, because those sites will have view counts. But if most of that's coming from Twitter, maybe you'd like to know about that. So, but that said, though, if you're growing your fan base, privacy is an issue.
Something I think this also brings you back to the content versus porn term. Gotta remember what you're posting, and just if you're in the process of getting a new job and it's something that they're going to really background check you on, don't have your face out all the time, baby. Like, I try to have a very good degree of separation where there's plausible deniability of whether that account is really mine. Part of why I want another suit head, because this one is sinful. Like, everyone looks at it and goes, that's sinful. I don't want my employer in the future going, oh, you posted your pussy on the internet? Don't want that here. Don't like that.
You could work at the sex shop.
I
Yeah.
want to, but my degree
It
says
would
no.
pay better. That would be.
If you're looking for employment, it's probably a safe idea, or if you're getting background checks at all, it's
Yeah.
probably a safe idea to lock your account even temporarily.
Yeah.
That brief loss in follower income is very worth it if it means employment.
Yeah, and then just once you have that job, just kind of keep it in mind that you never know
Unless
who
you're a
might
sex
look.
worker,
Yeah,
and
and
that
that
is
is
your.
actually-
If you are a sex worker and that is the career you want to take, then that is by all means
Go
do
for
it up.
Yeah.
But if you are looking at another career, as much as we wish it weren't true, there are people who will take offense or just not want to be associated, and you have to recognize that personal, furry, and horny are all separate things, and you have to decide which lines you want to blur. And even if you're comfortable with those lines being blurred, you have to recognize perspective of other people who might not be comfortable with those lines.
Your work is, there's a brick wall between your place of employment and anything to do with what you do on the side, basically.
Mhm.
And that brick wall is not coming down. It's going to stay up for the entire existence of your account until you maybe go into sex work, which that's not for. That's,
Sorry for my yawn.
Yeah.
There's also the other issues of privacy with security.
Mhm.
I'm personally paranoid sometimes at cons. I don't know how much of that's anxiety or real, but you don't know what crazies are on the internet. Try to be don't be giving out your address. Don't be giving out a lot of location information. Obviously, the con that kind of goes out the window because
Yeah.
I'm at this location for this event.
Mhm.
I'll be here during this event.
Yeah. But if you're going to the store just by yourself,
Yeah.
that can be a little bit dodgy.
Yeah, turn location off on your phone if you're
Yes.
taking pictures.
Phones,
Yeah.
if you have location on, sometimes they can be geotagged, and this has happened a lot on 4chan actually. If you upload an image to, say, an image board, it's there as is, all the data. Twitter will strip geotagging data most of the time, but sometimes if you're not careful, you can post an image that actually has data attached to it that has a literal coordinate, GPS coordinate, and that can be dangerous. So
Yeah, someone who wants it
yeah.
will find it and be a creep. Also, Amazon wish lists. This is a sort of workaround with that because there was an issue with it before where people did go look in their invoice history after ordering someone whatever and find their address info. If they don't have a PO box, that's where they live. Oof. So there's a slight workaround where you just don't accept third-party sellers, and
exactly.
that makes it so on the invoices it just shows as like private address or
Yeah.
recipient's address, and you're safe. You're
Yeah.
good. You can accept gifts now.
And of course, actually review the content you're uploading. Make sure there isn't anything really identifiable in there, like.
Like when we take stuff, we make sure we don't have stuff about like the university we went to,
Yeah.
and just we're not like having it in the background, you know, being like, oh yeah, people who go here,
They have sex
mad
all the
hoes.
time. Man,
Yeah.
that university
furry
is where it
hoes.
is.
Yeah. Also, just because
censor
they
it.
could totally come after you for that if they wanted to, because at the end of the day, they're a business and they don't want to be getting
Bad
a meme
mouth.
about porn.
Yeah, like wow, that university was. I saw that in the background of this great. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just information
Yeah.
people don't need for any reason.
Blur things, put stickers over it. Literally do what you can to make sure that
Because
that's
I
not
want to open the
visible.
floor to questions soon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we
like
wanna
free-
We're
skip
gonna
exits.
just get through the paid work bit. I think a few of us have done that. So I didn't have a cutesy. Oh, was this not the final version?
Oh no, it didn't have stickers on it.
Oh,
Well, it was
okay.
basically just a sticker of me like making it rain.
Yeah.
on her.
Yeah. It wasn't my art, so it's okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
Crash course,
basically,
go.
yeah,
1 minute.
paid work. OnlyFans, Indie Bill, Chatterbait, all great, all fine with sex work, made for that. PayPal and credit card companies, Coffee, which is just a wrapper for PayPal, shit like that.
Stay away.
Sex work.
Yeah.
That's what they think. Sorry
Yeah.
to flip y'all off, but that's their thoughts on sex work. They're like, you keep them legs closed, we are pure and wholesome, no sex.
And
So-
the most important thing is don't try to fight it.
Do not. It'll only take one person going, thanks for the nudes, for PayPal to be like,
Nudes.
banned. Get out.
And that could.
Or if they do a chargeback, you're gonna get banned and lose your money.
Yeah.
Instant. Don't fight it. Don't do it. Don't be like, oh, I'll just be sneaky. Tell them not to do it. All it takes is one person fucking you
Stick
over.
to
It's
something.
crappy, and if you ever made that mistake,
Yeah.
if you have sold something as private content and that person then cancels on you, you broke our contract, that has now become a public item for me to sell. I will sell those pictures in either private settings or I will do what I call a included member exclusive. So, hey, you've bought so much from me, I'm gonna give you this picture that's not for public release. Because it was never public release, it was for that client. And that's still under the moral grounds, but then you get that extra tweak. If someone screws you over, F them, and
Yeah.
not the fun way, and take your bonuses from that when you can get. And then you're providing an extra level of customer service
Yeah.
to that person if you're doing the paid work.
Yeah. So basically, key thing here is don't use PayPal, don't use Venmo, Kofi, or any of the other big guys. Make sure that you read
Make
the
sure
fine
that
print.
their TOS says that sex work is okay. Like I said, OnlyFans, IndieBill, Chatterbait, sites like that will be okay with it. I think Pornhub has a program as well.
Yeah, there's amateur stuff on Pornhub.
Yeah, so like if you really want to make money, do it through proper avenues so you don't get absolutely fucked in the way you don't want to.
And
Also, there's a little bit here about Bitcoin. We're not gonna.
crypto.
Yeah, cryptocurrency. Yeah.
Two second explanation. You know, it's
No one can stop you.
magic internet money, completely unregulated. If you know what crypto is and have done your homework, definitely go for that. That's basically what it's there for. But you are your own bank, so you know, make sure you're not doing anything stupid
For
with that.
11:30
And
questions.
Also,
Yeah.
the only issue with paid work is just, are you ready to actually carry through on that? But that goes for any sort of, you're being paid to do something work. Alright, question time. Did we not hit anything? Was there something totally weird specific to you? Let's hear it.
anyone?
You can just,
Good.
Yeah,
alright,
sure.
let's hear it.
What's your first thought, or how do you feel when people constantly ask you to do scat? I know people get that question a lot.
Yeah, you just gotta kind of be firm on if you're cool with that or not, and try not to like, oh, well maybe in the future, if you're not gonna do it, you're not gonna do it. Like,
Whatever your boundaries are, know them and establish them. Whether it's scat, water sports,
Water sports is
penetration,
more common.
close,
yeah.
some people are not close-up genital pictures, whatever your boundaries are, know them for yourself. And, the important thing is someone who may be interested in one thing might also be interested in something else. So you can say, hey, you know, that is not within my boundaries, you know, I appreciate your interest, thank you, you know, these are things that I am interested in, these are things that I'm not interested in, and just, you know, be polite but firm.
Oh, and one thing on the paid work thing and being asked to do something is money talks. If you're not as comfortable with doing something, but you know could be convinced, perhaps
Money's a great convincer.
money convinces. So
like, I don't like feet stuff, but people are like, hey, will you do a foot pic or a video? And I'm like,
sure.
okay, this
And
doesn't
that's-
gross me out or anything. It's
When
just
you do
not my
paid
thing.
work, it varies. So my, you know, for myself, my videos range from $8 a minute to $25 to $30. And there are things that I will do for additional money that I would not necessarily do on my own. Because I do what I feel is fun for myself, for my free content, because that's what I want to do. But if you're paying private things, I would never think to do that. I'm not completely uncomfortable with it, as long as you're cool with it and you're paying me a value that makes the extra effort worth it.
Yeah.
Or, you know, if you just really dig that person, you want to do it just for that particular individual, that's cool too.
Repeat
Yeah.
customers.
Yes.
So
But
I
yeah.
hope that answered the question.
Yes.
Any other questions?
All right.
Difference between soft suiting and mercy.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
we were actually supposed
Oh,
to talk
we
about that.
really glossed over that one.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a
All right.
variety of opinions, so I'm excited to hear
Yeah.
yours.
Yes.
My personal opinion is soft suiting is fursuit erotica. It's sexy, it's hot, it's not. If you showed someone a picture like, hey, here's my soft suiting picture, they wouldn't be like, oh, that's porn. They'd be like, oh, that's sensual. It's got some like sexy energy, but it's not porn. Mersuit, that's porn. That's fursuit
Porn.
porn. Like
No
that's
doubt
not
about it.
erotic and like sensual. That is
It's
sexual.
there to turn
energy.
people on.
Yeah,
If
like
you could
genitalia.
technically show it and not get arrested in public, you're probably doing soft suiting.
Yeah, like
Technically, you
Some
could be in a
people differ.
bikini, in a fursuit, technically soft suiting. If you're like, maybe I shouldn't do this in public or I'll get arrested.
Yeah, it's basically like the whole porn versus erotica kind of debate. You know, it's really that soft of a definition. Per se.
Yeah, some
So,
people do think that
question.
like fursuit head and nudity is self-suiting. I don't
I
agree with
disagree,
that.
personally.
Yeah, I disagree. I think having these different tiers, like fursuiting is completely safe for work, soft-suiting is kind of the
Yeah.
line, and mersuiting is porn. Like that's,
I agree.
think, a better.
I concur.
It's a more useful definition and one that I imagine a lot of people would agree on. So
Yeah, it's
thank
a
you for
little
that
bit less
question.
gray area.
Do
Yeah,
we
so
have any
thank
other
you.
questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a somewhat involved question. Can I ask you after the?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll,
sure.
we'll stick around
Yeah.
either in here or out there if we get kicked out because other panels.
Yeah,
We'll be around.
We're technically over time, but no one yelled at us yet, so
I think we
more
have like
questions.
I think we have 15 minutes, and then
Oh, do we?
after they're gonna come in to set up for this.
Okay,
so
cool.
yeah,
So
we
we're-
should be good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll switch you out there, I guess. Then.
Yeah, that's
sure.
A-okay.
Yeah.
Yes, in the back.
I thought of something for pictures.
Yes.
You take a screenshot of a picture on your phone, it might not have all that.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good
that'll
one.
be like cropping or editing a watermark out. You can't stop that from happening, so when it comes to watermarking, kind of do your best to put it in a place where it's not likely to be cropped out because people
Oh, yeah,
can't
that
just,
too.
Yeah.
yeah.
I was just thinking of all the alt tags that they could use to track you, like the GPS tag.
Oh yeah, I guess there could be a way to set that up if you really want to. I've never looked into it, but I think
What was that?
putting like
Like taking a
geotagging,
screenshot of the
watermark.
picture so you don't get the GPS tag.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, that.
If you can't
That's-
figure out
yeah.
how to do the settings, yeah, taking a screenshot of it, but that does come
Yeah.
with the backfire of it can tank quality or just flat out change the quality, and you
Yeah.
can't really do
Right.
that very well with videos, so you know that can also have
Okay.
some
Yeah.
drawbacks.
But that could work if you just really want to be
But if you're in a
safe.
pinch and you just really want to make sure that that extra layer is there, you know, go ahead.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank
yeah. Thank you.
you. Any other questions? I don't see no hands. If you're too shy to ask a question now, you know, again, ask
Yeah,
us
well,
after this.
I guess
we'll
class
break down.
dismissed, then you can just come up and talk to the teachers.
Y'all are ready.
Hey!
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.